Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hello. Yeah, man. Tuesday, baby. Still early in the week. Let's get ready to rock and roll. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Welcome to the program. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. I know it's about to end. Some of you get ready to pack up. Looking at the clock, watch pot never boils. Calm down. Just hang out. We'll be okay. 5 o'clock is rolling around. But while you're here, just hang out with me. We'll get you home right. We got news. We've got me. We've got weather. We got traffic. We got it all right here, ending your day. I got opening monologue I want to talk about a little bit. And I've been trying to figure this out for a while. And those of you who've been a part of this show for a long time know that I've talked about this a bit. But I'm still trying to figure it out. I am no psychiatrist or psychologist. I just look at what's called, I guess, a pattern of behavior that never seems to make sense to me. And I've always considered myself kind of a introvert outside of doing this. Like, I'm gregarious. I've known to be. You get me in the middle of some place, like if I'm bored, I'll start a conversation in a heartbeat. I just know how. But usually I'm pretty quiet. In fact, my wife is quite annoyed about it sometimes. She goes, we get around friends and you just sit in a corner and you won't say anything. And I'm like, I kind of talk for a living. So when I'm in my private life, I, kind of just be quiet. I do all the talking that's necessary. So there's something going on, and I've seen it for a long time. And I know some people are going to blame social media, but I think it's bigger than that. I think it's not. Blaming it on social media seems like an easy excuse, but I'll explain. Also, in the program today, I've got to talk about this article in the Atlantic that I cannot believe happened. And this was the headline. With everything you've heard over the last couple of weeks, especially after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the Atlantic magazine, ultra left-wing, writes this today: left-wing terrorism on the rise. For the first time in more than 30 years, attacks by the far left outnumber those on the far right. With everything you've seen on cable news networks about the both sides issue, the Atlantic put this article out today. I have some bullet points from it. We'll get into it. But if you're interested, go look up the article. It's worth the read. Whether you agree or not, it's still worth the read. And we'll talk about that as well. Headlines, of course, are coming up. I know Jimmy Kimmel is going back on the air. There has been some breaking news on that. If you haven't heard it, we'll talk about that as well in the headlines. And we'll also talk about this behavioral therapist. This woman named Danielle Slaughter-Lozier, or Luzier, who knows? Who cares? We'll talk about her as well, because that is deeper into this opening monologue. Oh, and Kamala Harris, because that, it's not newsworthy, but it's kind of a conversation worth having today. Because the new book's out, and she's doing the book tour. She's being well received by those she's meeting with. She's not going in any place that's adversarial or a tough interview. It's much like the 107-day campaign. But we'll get into that as well. Let's talk about the opening monologue today. We're going to call this one Risking Your Life Over Trump. Now, when I say risking your life, I'm not saying that people are running into places and, putting their actual life in jeopardy, but their lifestyle, their way of life, their jobs. Goodness gracious, they already reached a verdict in that case? Jeez, we'll talk about that too. You see these people who are putting themselves, their livelihood, in harm's way because of their hatred or disagreement with Donald Trump. He has literally pulled them into a place that will only affect their own lives and never his. And I know it has a lot to do with arrogance. There are a lot of people who think, I'm smarter than him. He's a dunk-off. He didn't get rich on his own. His daddy gave him money. He's unworthy in their view. And all of them are very propped up into saying things and doing things beyond the pale that the president will never see. Only you and I will see it. If it becomes news, or maybe they're on our feed, on our social media, but this will never reach the intended target, and I use that term loosely. The person they wish to admonish will never see it. They're microscopic in scale. It's the reason why you're doing it in the first place, because you're punching up. But you don't see it as punching up. You see it as like you're on equal footing. And worse off, you show that you're not on equal footing because you do something that is so outrageous. It has to be over the top. Like setting up the camera and then reading from a prepared script to admonish the guy who's never going to see it. Is it really for him or is it really for us? Is it for us to acknowledge you so that we can say, wow, look how unhinged that person is? And now that's something to brag about, that you can go to your friends and say, hey, did you see my TikTok? It got 1,000 views in 15 minutes of me ripping the president to shreds. And then all of a sudden it goes one too far. You've said the wrong thing. You've threatened the wrong people. And your life, or your livelihood for that matter, is over. And why? I have some theories. Relevance, belonging, a sense of strength where you don't feel you have any. All true. All true. That's exactly what this is about. Now, years ago, I said this about actors, people in the celebrity scope, before social media. The disease that kills a celebrity, it's only one. And no, it's not AIDS. The one thing that kills celebrity in the old age is a disease called irrelevance. When no one cares what you're doing anymore. Don Cheadle was on The View, and this was probably the greatest line in an interview ever. He's sitting up there with those harpies, and he says, I believe that your Hollywood career is in 3 stages. The first stage is, who's Don Cheadle? The second stage is, can we get a young Don Cheadle? And the third is, who's Don Cheadle? That's the three stages of celebrity. But now, because anyone can be a celebrity, Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton, hint, hint, you all think you're celebrities. You've got hundreds of thousands of followers. You have people who are hanging by the edge of their seat for you to drop new content. And now, in a mad dash to become more and more popular, when something comes up, you think, my fans, they are waiting for me to address this issue. Jimmy Kimmel Live gets fired. Let's make this about my opinion. Now, truth be told, I get paid to do that. But I'm here to give you the facts. I'm not here to tell you what I think about Jimmy Kimmel. You don't care what I think about Jimmy Kimmel. I'm here to break down what the facts are, to decipher the nonsense in the noise. But the rest of these folks who put their jobs on the line, because if they could just live off the stuff they do online, they just do that. But these folks have regular jobs. And again, in the mad dash to become relevant, do some of the most outrageous stuff. And I mean outrageous stuff. And they're facing the consequences. If you think that's bad, what do they do after they suffer the consequences? Like their employer finds out that they are dancing around at the, at the death of Charlie Kirk, mocking his wife and her young children. What happens when the boss hauls him into the office and says, hey, we understand that you're celebrating the murder of a man who was just exercising his right to speak and exist and converse with young people. And you found it necessary to wish awful things on children. We're going to have to let you go. And what does that bozo do immediately afterwards? Gets on social media and starts talking about how they got fired. And my favorite part of that video is to then express how they're somehow a victim of their own actions. My boss didn't understand. I was just trying to be cool and relevant. They said some nonsense about standards and practices. I don't know anything about that. I just know that I'm a victim here. I feel like my free speech has been violated. We've seen this over and over again, folks. Over and over again. We had a young woman, what was her name? Annie some nonsense. Lost her job as a teacher of special education children. A person who parents trusted with their children. Was caught online talking about ending people. Leaving them in a body bag. I'm sure that warmed the hearts and minds of every mom who has dropped her child off into her care. And at the end, when she was being interviewed by Dennis House, she seemed so much more contrite, crying even. I think it's horrible that I won't be able to care for those children the way I loved them so much. You didn't love them enough to end that career over something you couldn't control, like the results of an election. You saw that as much more important than your role as a teacher, as shaping young minds. And in your case, helping young minds who needed special attention. We now have a case with a Newtown behavioral therapist, a black woman in an interracial marriage, where she is taking care of two stepchildren who are white and her own mixed race children. I mean, the woman, in essence, is living the melting pot. And what is she doing? She is online spewing racist rhetoric while operating as a behavioral therapist for children. And no one at the school finds that alarming. Not even alarming enough to address it. I don't want the woman fired. I want something better. I want an interview. I want to speak to her. Now, sure, it may end with her screaming and hollering at me, maybe even shouting certain racial slurs, as some of these radical leftists do. But I want to speak with her. I think we should get to the bottom of why these people wish to destroy themselves over something that is truly of no consequence to their daily lives. They feed their kids. They go to work. They go to events. They have friends. I'm assuming they have social lives. But they are going above and beyond today more than ever to destroy themselves and the lives of people who they have to care for. And for what? I think I figured it out. And I'm going to explain later on. So stand by for that. We've got plenty of news and plenty of views, plus your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Stand by. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio here. So this educator, and her name, again, is Danielle Slaughter Lozier, I'm assuming. Or, well, it's on her own Facebook page, so it's Lozer, Lozer. Now, I'm only outing this because this person is a school official. And she is what they describe as the Newtown School behavioral therapist. And that means she is supposed to engage with your child if they are in that school. And the amount of animus that is coming out of the mouth of this person privately should not have any real bearing on her job. But in this case, it does because it's racial. Why is that important? Because it would be the case if Danielle Slaughter Lozer were a white woman. Capiche? It is that simple. If a white behavioral therapist shared with what I'm about to read to you, white parents would be concerned. But not that that's important. Parents should be concerned. No matter what there is. Because to have animus towards anyone's race should be a disqualifier from all races. Because everything that she deals with is situational. What were to happen if two children of different races were to get into a situation? How would this woman handle it? How would her own internal bias deal with said child? Because in this diatribe, she doesn't seem to care about even Charlie Kirk's children. Now, if I may, I'm going to read it. I am not going to say any curse words, but what I am going to read to you is harsh in nature. So listener discretion is advised. These are her words. I'm going to speak my mind the same way people defend Charlie Kirk's right to speak. This man was nothing but a modern-day shock jock, a college dropout who turned guns and racism into sound bites and social media stunts. This white, gum-heavy devil consistently trashed black people like we were garbage. He said powerful black women didn't have the brains for their jobs, and we're taking them. What? And they're taking them from white women, from white men. Sorry, as well-educated black women who graduated cum laude, and with high honors on my master's degree. That comment is aimed at me, my mother, and every black woman who worked hard for what we have. He came for us. He was a mediocre white man whose mouth finally caught up with him, and his neck paid the price, she writes. Good dad? Who cares if you're good to your kids while you poison everyone else's? His platform was built on hate. Death doesn't change your legacy, it reveals it. For those mourning him and singing his praises all over Facebook, I see it. I see you and I understand exactly where your heart lies. Not one of you mentioned the harm he caused. You let his hate slide. His threats caused HBCUs to go on lockdown, even though the shooter was a white man. His rhetoric, all of it, created this climate. And now that voice of hate is gone, and I'll be damned if you'll catch me feeling sorry for him or any of you who loved him so dearly. I said what the blank I said. Those were her words. Now, she didn't have to write them. She didn't have to write them at all. Charlie Kirk didn't know her. Charlie Kirk never met her. She clearly never met him. And she's clearly, from her own words, never watched a video by Charlie Kirk. But why did she internalize it? Charlie Kirk was talking about words that came out of 3 black women's mouths when they expressed that they were all affirmative action hires. And he addressed them based upon their own words. He never came for her, but you saw what she did there, right? Because he talked about 3 black women, he immediately meant her. Which brings me right back to my point. The reason why you're seeing all of this is because everybody thinks everything is about them. Now, I'm going to tell a tale out of school, and I don't think the person I'm going to talk about would mind, because I think deep down he's a good guy. Yesterday, I told you I had an off-the-air conversation with Tim. He and I spoke. And in our disagreement, he said something that I immediately caught on to. Because as much as you folks think that when I'm interviewing somebody, I'm cutting them off or I'm not letting them talk, no, I'm listening to every word they're saying, which is why I stopped them, because I don't allow them to filibuster. But in our discussion, as it was getting heated back and forth, and it eventually calmed down, we made our peace at the end of it, but we hashed it out. But in our conversation, Tim said something that struck me. He said, you talk about liberals, and you say this and that and this about the liberals. And as he was talking about it, he was internalizing it. Because when I say liberals, I mean him. And not just him specifically. And so I had to stop him. I said, Tim, we have a saying in the hood. Many of you who listen to me, like my 4 black listeners? No, I'm kidding. We have a saying. If it don't apply, let it fly. I can sit up here and talk about liberals all day. If that ain't you, why would you take it personal? Unless the identification as a liberal you take personally. It's the same thing with blacks or Latinos, those who use that. It is an excuse to be personally affected by something. You saw what she said. He wasn't just talking about those 3 black women. He was talking about me, my mama, my sister, my cousins. That gave her license now to say these awful things about Charlie Kirk. He never met her. He wasn't even talking about her. But when he said black women, he meant me. No, he didn't. If it don't apply, let it fly. You have a master's degree. He clearly wasn't talking about you. But then again, maybe he was. Maybe he knew inside of that master's degree was a small mind, a small thinker. But even with a master's degree, sees things from something as, I don't know, nonsensical as the color of your skin. Maybe the master's degree gave you no real intelligence. That you thought that he was talking about you and your mama when talking about Joy Reid, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Kamala Harris. Some people might say, well, maybe she sees herself in those people. What kind of ridiculous statement is that? Do you think every Italian sees themselves in Christopher Columbus? And why is that only indicative of black folks? I don't see every Mexican saying, I'm Cesar Chavez. I just don't. But that's what this is about. This isn't even about belonging. This is about finding excuses to interject. But see, this is much more harmful because, again, the way this person feels about her race and feels about Charlie Kirk's race, even though she's married to a white man. I mean, deep down, if I were her husband and I were a white man, I would be looking at her going, Danielle, do you think that all white men are Charlie Kirk now? Because you kind of said that in your statement here. You said that Charlie Kirk's criticism of Ketanji Brown Jackson, Kamala Harris, and Joy Reid means that he was talking to your mother and you and your sister. So Charlie Kirk is white. Does that mean that I'm Charlie Kirk because I'm white? And then watch her wiggle her way out of that conversation. That's what I would do. That's how I get down. But I know he won't. I know he's probably sitting back and going, yeah, I'm just going to let her stew. But see, that's the problem. That's the problem. Is that letting this stew and letting this fester is permission. And what Newtown is doing here by not addressing it is giving it permission. Yeah, we don't really reprimand our black staff. Yeah, it can lead to other problems like lawsuits and accusations of racism. So, yeah, we're just going to let her do what she does. Okay? Yeah. No, we have no further comment. That's okay. No. I know that our other children in the school may have to be subjected to her clearly bigoted way of thinking. But, it's just best for all of us if we just act like it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. I don't know if that's cowardly, but for me, it seems kind of, I don't know, reckless. I'd say it's unprofessional. I kind of say it's weaselly. I mean, when's anybody going to get a spine? I mean, seriously, when's anybody going to get a spine? I'm going to talk to the folks over at the Connecticut Sentinel about this and see if we can get some more information. Like I said, I don't want her fired. I want a statement. I want to talk to her. I want to get her on the phone. I want to see whether or not she wants to address this. Or if she's smart, apologizes. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
I want to know what exactly he tried to stab himself with. They said that this Ryan Ruth character, after he got the guilty verdict, he tried to stab himself in the courtroom, and marshals had to step in to prevent him from doing it. He tried to stab himself. Okay. Anyway, if you're just joining us, we're talking about this missive that Danielle Slaughter-Lozer posted on her Facebook page with pictures of Charlie Kirk, talking about him in disparaging ways and pretty much going after anyone who celebrated Charlie Kirk who may have in her community. And, you know, of course, people are asking for action in all of this, especially in, you know, residents and other people in the neighborhood. And they're not really getting anything from it because no one seems to touch it. Look, I'm going to say something a little rough here. And I get it. I've said this tongue-in-cheek before. It's Connecticut. And I would believe, I tend to believe, that Connecticut is afraid of its own shadow when it comes to race relations in the state. And I've talked to some people about this. And there's one side that's incredibly frustrated by it, and another side that simply nods his head and goes, yep, and I got nothing else to say about it. And I get it. But this is one of those things where you're going to end up harming yourself. At some point, it's going to be too late. And you can't come back from it. When you tell somebody that they can do what they do to you, and there are no consequences for their actions, like any real piece of work, for lack of calling them something mean, a real piece of work will say, what else will you let me get away with? Because that's already where they're operating from. If they're operating in a place that says, what you going to do? I'll just scream racism. And you go, oh, I don't want you to do that. And the person goes, oh, you're afraid of that. Good. And then they'll go further. And your fear will become a weapon against you. And this woman is just like that. If no one says anything to her, if no one confronts her, if everybody sits by and hands off, she'll get. And again, if you want to show how bold, if you want to see how bold she is that while she's spewing all of this racist hate on her Facebook page, it's a picture of her and her mixed race family, married to a white man with white children, mixed race children. And here she is as the racial overlord telling everybody else what their value is. I mean, it's the worst kind of racism. For her, yes, I can date a white man. This white man, clearly a holier than thou. He's a good white man by my standards. You, white devils, no, you're beneath him. You got mixed race children. Yes, but my children are adorned with the blood of me and my sanctimonious white husband. You, evil devils, your children are tainted with the blood of racists and slavers. And you can't touch me because I'm black. You don't want that publicity. And the rest of you just cow. And do you know what happens to me? Oh, all the civil rightsers, they come after me. How dare you point out that she's doing exactly that, Reese? Look at you putting down that black woman. No one else will. No one else will call her out. And neither will those people who should. Those people will call her a righteous black woman. They will call her righteous in her ranting and raving, while not married to a black man and not having full-blood black children. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. It's hilarious to watch. Who's the big threat? That's Reese on the radio. You're all a bunch of cowards. You are. The worst kind. Because you'll sit there and you'll watch the whole thing burn down. And then you'll complain at the price of the matches. That's exactly what you do. Anyway, we move on. We have another black woman to talk about, allegedly. Kamala Harris, when we return. Let's get to the WTIC newsroom with John Silva. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah, baby. We got headlines, but you know what? I'll just do the headlines brief. And in headlines today, I just got breaking news. Well, actually, it's probably happened a couple of days ago, but I want to give a congratulations to one person I've been following and another one who was a guest on this show last year. FBI agents Stephen Friend, who was a guest on this show, and Garrett O'Boyle, who was not, but I followed his story when he was removed from the FBI after moving his family all the way to Quantico and lost his job and became a whistleblower, has now, and I'm going to applaud him again, both of them, Stephen Friend and Garrett Boyle, have been reinstated at the FBI, and they are getting their back pay. Kash Patel making it right. I'm very, very happy for both of those men because what was done to them was absolutely unforgivable by the Biden administration. And both of them got their jobs back. And so I just reached out to Stephen Friend a moment ago, just sent him a text just to tell him, congratulations. If he's, on duty, he probably can't come back on the he probably can't come back on the air because if he's going back to his job, he's probably undercover. As you already heard, Jimmy Kimmel, of course, is coming back to the airwaves at ABC, but in a limited capacity because now we are learning that some 66 stations will continue to preempt his show. And whatever he says, I'm sure everyone will cover it tomorrow if they do watch the show. Yes, I did hear, Tim, that the Next Star station in Connecticut will not be airing him. You will not see Jimmy Kimmel. You'll have to go online, like I'm sure people will feverishly go to see what he has to say. It will be the highest ratings he's received in over 14 years. And congrats to him. We'll see how long the show survives. There are no talks about new contract talks, but you can damn well bet in January when those talks resume, Jimmy Kimmel will not be in the driver's seat. You can damn well bet that. And if smart, he will, let's just say, decide to be contrite. But, you never know. He could, risk it all because he hates Trump and MAGA. And I say go for it, man. That's your freedom right there. Since we're on the topic of freedom of speech, can we give it up to all the people who were ignored, to all the people who were silenced, to all the people who truly had their freedom of speech taken away from them? Can I applaud all of those folks? Because Google, that's right, Google and its parent company Alphabet has admitted they were censoring people's free speech at the behest of the Biden administration. In a letter, it says, today, thanks to the oversight chairman, Jim Jordan, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off of YouTube due to political speech violations on topics such as COVID-19 and elections an opportunity to return to the platform. One, the Biden administration pressured Google to censor Americans and remove content that did not violate YouTube's policies, did not violate their policies. The Biden administration's censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. Public debate should never come at the expense of relying on authorities, they say. The company will never use third-party fact-checkers again. Also, the Europe censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech, including the removal of lawful content. These major admissions come after Chairman Jordan's subpoena to Google and a years-long investigation into the company. Also, a Boston-based Black Lives Matter activist has finally admitted to scamming all of her donors. Monica Cannon Grant, 44 years old, pled guilty on Monday to 18 counts of fraud-related crimes that she committed with her late husband while operating their Violence in Boston activist group, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts. The activist scammed money, including $3,000 from a BLM group, while claiming it was to help feed the children and run protests like the one in 2020 over the murder of George Floyd and police violence. Cannon Grant also conned her way into getting $100,000 in federal pandemic-related unemployment benefits, which she used to pay off her personal auto loan and car insurance policy. But she has now confessed to transferring funds to her personal bank accounts to pay for rent, shopping sprees, delivery meals, visits to a nail salon, Jesus, and even a summer vacation in Maryland. She should not be made to pay that back because that wasn't a vacation. That was a prison sentence. I'm just saying. And now for the stupidest thing I've read today.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Liberal pregnant women. If you haven't seen this online, folks, I hate to steer you towards it. But after the Trump administration yesterday announced that it is harmful for pregnant women to take Tylenol during pregnancy, pregnant women are now on TikTok filming themselves taking Tylenol. I kid you not. I saw the report today and then saw the videos. I will not air them here. Pregnant women, as a protest to the Trump administration, are filming themselves pregnant, not fake pregnancies, actual pregnant women, filming themselves, humming along to music while taking Tylenol. Yeah. That's how sick this has gotten. What am I supposed to say? There's no cult, folks. There's no cult on the left. Those are just normal acting folks, normal people. What you are seeing is just a response to Donald Trump. It's a justified hatred of Donald Trump and his policies. It's just a natural reaction, ladies and gentlemen. It's a natural reaction. No, nobody believes Trump. You're 100% right, Tim, in the chat room. You're 100% right. No one believes Trump. That's why they are filming themselves taking Tylenol. That's what they're doing. Donald Trump is such a liar that they are willing to risk it and put their children's lives in danger, potential danger, by just going, and again, for no reason other than Donald Trump saying, don't take the Tylenol when you're pregnant. It's incredibly funny, incredibly hilarious, but okay. And, you know, and the funny part is right, if I can, I'm going to do something that only the left would do. And this shows you exactly how funny it is. I'm looking in my chat room, and the crazy part is that the people who are not allowed to talk about a woman's pregnancy, men, are chiming up right now about something they can never, ever go through. Here's Tim and here's AT talking about, no, a woman should do what she wants to do. She should take time. Look at you. Like, how smart do you sound? Or do you appear? You're not allowed to opine on this subject. Did you learn nothing in Liberalism 101? You can't get pregnant. You have to be quiet. And here you are chiming in on it. And what also makes this very, very suspect by both of you in the chat room, this is typical. This shows you exactly how typical you are. Here's AT saying, how dare they contradict Dr. Trump? And then Tim in the chat room going, no, who believes Trump? It isn't Trump who's the so-called doctor here. He's just the messenger. Donald Trump's done no research. He simply gave a press conference. Donald Trump is going based upon what Dr. McCrary said, Dr. Bhattacharya said, actual scientists. You haven't questioned them. Where's your statements on their credibility? I don't see it here. Can you question their credibility as physicians? Can you? No, you can't. But saying that it's Donald Trump who's telling mothers not to take Tylenol as some sort of reason that they should, hurry up, ladies. Down them. Grab a bottle. Shows exactly how delusional you are. Like, dude, you actually, like, you're not even thinking. Not really. But then again, I don't think that's the point. It's, how can I blame Trump for it? What harm is the mother doing to Trump by taking Tylenol? Explain that to me, AT. Explain it to me. What harm is she doing to Donald Trump in showing her defiance? See, Trump, you said don't take Tylenol. Look at me taking the Tylenol anyway. Okay. These were the same people who were concerned that Donald Trump said drink bleach. Remember? They were so concerned. CNN saying, whatever you do, do not drink disinfectant. Remember how concerned you were? Donald Trump told people to take disinfectant. And my response to that was, and it was a really legitimate response, was, wouldn't you want Trump supporters to take the disinfectant? Like, think about it. Like, you folks don't really care about Trump supporters, do you? Who did you think was going to take the disinfectant? Did you think liberals were? Because right now, we clearly know that that's not evident. Trump said, don't take Tylenol, and you're all downing a bottle. So who exactly were you concerned about? Us? I mean, if I were Donald Trump, no. Okay, this is the reason why I could never be in that office. I would be cruel. I'd do far worse. But it just shows, again, this is not intelligence, gentlemen. Neither one of you. Just so you know, this wasn't like you didn't get me good. This is crazy and sad. Just to let you know. What's going on, Fred?
Hey, well, I have a perfect segue because it was quite petty, but I have a Tim report, a radio shop talk. So with no Todd, no Tom, no Pastor Will, and you as likely as not using him as a mop or a punching bag when he calls, he's been driven over to poor Gary Byron, and he calls full of piss and vigor. The other morning, Gary asked, when the hell did Tim get so snarky? And he jumped the shark, and then jumped the shark evolved into he jumped the snark. So Tim has jumped the snark. Yeah.
I look at it this way. I've already given him the Excellence in Promotion Award for talking about me on other networks, and that
Right.
and I totally appreciate him doing that. So and again, it was like everyone who was contacting me about it thought that I was supposed to be angry about it. I wasn't. I called him and I told him thank you very much, and I did. I totally gave him that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for promoting my show on other networks.
He's a Johnny Appleseed of, yeah. Those are three singularly stupid people, Ketanji, Kamala, and Joy. If that shoe fits, oh, my God.
Yeah, well, I don't even understand what everyone has said. In fact, I've got Kamala Harris stuff coming up in a second. Let me get to that. Thank you, boss man. Let's go to Steve in Newington. Steven, I'm sorry, in Newington. How are you, sir?
All right. This issue with the Tylenol and everything. Trump had no business making the statements he did. He's got no medical background.
Can I, wait. He's not.
Let me finish.
No, Stephen, I'm not going to let you finish.
Okay?
I'm not going to let you finish.
You're nothing but a screamer.
Yeah. I'm also the guy with a mute button. Trump had every right as the president of the United States to tell people to be wary of Tylenol. The same way Barack Obama and any other president during a pandemic has told people to get vaccinated, get your flu vaccine, do any of those things. Changing the rules for Trump does not make you intelligent at all. Saying what Trump is allowed or isn't allowed to do while you're screaming about free speech is also stupid. You do understand, like, the leader of the free world has the ultimate bully pulpit. And his free speech, to be honest, is the free speech that the world must accept. He doesn't bow down. And you got all of these people putting these provisions or these parameters around the president of the United States and what he should and shouldn't say. Steven, are you still talking while you're on hold?
You're a mental midget.
Goodbye. Yes, I'm a mental midget. Oh, you crushed me. What's going on, Mike?
So I don't understand some of these liberal idiots' logic. So Trump's not a doctor, but he can't address the nation about the findings that actual doctors brought to him.
Indeed.
So does that apply to everything else? Can he not talk about economics because he doesn't have an economics degree?
Mm-hmm.
Can he not talk about war because he's not a soldier? Can he not talk about crime because he's not a lawyer? These people are morons. They're women. All of these, both women and men, are emotional women.
Yes.
And their responses are, he's icky, so everything he says is wrong. The only thing I hope is that he comes out and says, I really don't think you women should exercise and lose weight. And maybe all these blue-haired idiots
You took it away from me because that's what I was about to say. It's like Donald Trump, maybe he's missing the perfect opportunity here. Because if he were, you're right. If he were to actually go out and say, it turns out that Robert F. Kennedy was wrong. Women can be overweight and not exercise. And sure enough, we would see stock prices at LA Fitness go through the roof.
These people are just the worst. That Jasmine Crockett, I know what Jasmine Crockett's doing, man. She knows that she's shortly going to lose her bully pulpit.
Yeah.
Because her seat's gone.
Yeah.
So she's trying desperately to establish herself as a brand somewhere.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for her, she got no outlet because CNN is circling the drain, and MS Now is going to have the budget of a low-end YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They can't afford to pay her and keep her in weaves and lace fronts and all this crap.
Lace. For those of you who do not understand it, that's a weave term. Maybe some ladies out there know it. The guys will not.
But dude, these people are they're just the worst. They're all stupid. It's really that they're dumb. And they hate Trump so much that they will impale themselves.
Yes.
To try to score a point on him. What they should have said in regards to Charlie Kirk is nothing. Just be quiet.
Yep. That's it.
If you hate Charlie Kirk, I got news for these people. Milo Yiannopoulos' crazy ass is coming. He doesn't care about it.
He doesn't, and I've never, you know what, I told you were the first person to introduce me to Milo, and you and I both developed quite the interest in that guy when he was around, and he's coming back, so I can't wait. I just watched the first video of him coming back talking about Christianity, and he looks like he is not even in the mood to hear anybody's nonsense, so I'm looking forward to that. I got to go, Mike, but thank you, man, as always. Let me take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. We'll take a little bit more of your phone calls. We'll talk about Kamala Harris on the other side of it when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hey. Whoa. Let's not put all 100 candles on the cake. It'll ruin the frosting and probably set the place on fire. And there's expensive radio equipment in here, too.
We're back. Reese on the radio. I'm reading still some of these comments. This one's another one. I would not believe Donald Trump if he came in dripping wet and told me that it was raining outside. Okay, good. I'm glad you feel that way. Now watch all of that nonsense switch up. Because as I like to do on this show is let's go to the people they trust. Now on my screen, if you're watching, you can see the report that I'm about to read to you. This report came out a little more than a month ago, 1 month, 3 days ago, on August 20th. Let's read the headline. To all you people, I wouldn't trust Donald Trump. Not the physician here, just the messenger. And all those people supporting the idiots who were downing bottles of Tylenol in protest to a guy trying to warn you about it. Headline. Using acetaminophen during pregnancy may increase children's autism and ADHD risk. This from a doctor named J. Law, Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. He published a systemic review of 46 prior studies using the navigation guide methodology, finding that many show positive association between prenatal acetaminophen use and neurodevelopment disorders, NDDs, including autism spectrum disorder, ASD, and ADHD. Harvard did the study a month ago. 46 reviews. So putting it on Donald Trump as if to say, Trump said, don't use it, I'm going to use it, while Harvard says, hey, dumb, don't use it. Flies in the face of this, well, if Donald Trump told me it was dripping wet. Really? Yeah. But I know who you would have listened to. If Kamala Harris was the president of the United States and she told you to dunk your kids in a pool of water and hold it there, you would have done it. Because, of course, you're just nothing more than a bunch of mind-numb robots. Or maybe not.
I would just say that if you want a messenger to go against Donald Trump, you can do far better as Democrats than Kamala Harris. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at her net favorable ratings nationwide. You know, back in October of 2024, she was at -5 points. Not exactly great, but pretty close to the zero mark, right? Pretty close to even. But now, down under she goes. She's at -13 points. That's an 8-point drop. Since the general election among the overall electorate, she is not well liked at this particular point. The American people, they don't want this. They don't want her. And get this, she's 37 points underwater with independents. If you can't win independents, you can't win the election. And the bottom line is, with those in the center of the electorate, those who are the most up for grabs, she is way underwater. She is definitely swimming with the fishes.
Now, with all due respect, am I supposed to take any bit of credibility that you folks have about your distrust of Donald Trump? How are we supposed to have any trust of you? It was just a couple of months ago she was the savior of our democracy. Now you don't even want her. Now you're acting like she didn't even exist. Was all of that nonsense, the raving and the screaming and hollering about her, was that all fake and phony? I thought she was the most intelligent black woman to ever be in elected office. I thought she was, sister girl savior. What happened? Did all it take was for her to lose, for us to show your true colors, for you to realize that you were never really confident about her in the first place? Is that what it is? How many people are you going to run out? How many of you are going to run out and grab 107 excuses? 107 days, whatever the name of the book is called. How many of you are going to run out and get it? Huh? How did she exactly treat you? She said you weren't smart enough to elect her and a gay man, or you weren't ready. She made that decision for you. Yeah. She said that Donald Trump was a communist dictator and then endorsed an actual communist. Now you're sitting around talking about, she was never really our first choice. Well, what the hell was she? You mean to tell me that you just picked her because that's what they told you to do? Cult. Are you telling me that you were really enthusiastic about her presidency? Because it turns out now that you guys are saying, oh, she really had no true chance of winning. We should have had a primary. Cult. Weren't we talking about all of those things? Hey, you guys should have had a primary. No, she was the heir apparent. She should have been the candidate. Cult. Now that she's not, all of a sudden you've awakened from your cultism. Yeah, she was never ever. She wasn't a good person anyway. It's like the woman who you've seen in a relationship for like 4 or 5 months. He's the best person in the world. He makes my coffee. He carries my bags. He treats me like a princess. And then when you break up, he was absolutely terrible. He was an awful thing. You should see the things he said about me behind my back. Oh, and the things he would do when no one was there. Cult. We know. Don't sit up here. With all due respect, don't sit up here in my chat room and don't go off calling up on the show talking about how you're holier than thou and how you're the most prudent and the most informed and so much smarter than the rest of us. When you guys flip like a flapjack, when you're exposed. Everything you were talking about, what was it, 11 months ago? Is completely turned on its face. She was never really a good candidate. What were you fighting for? Because of Trump. So you couldn't even have any integrity with her because of Trump? Like you would lie to us? You lied to yourself? You told all of us that you were gung-ho right behind her, where secretly you were shaking in your boots and you didn't have a lot of confidence in her? Was that all it was about? Cult. I'm just going to call it like I see it. That's the behavior of a cult. Yeah, fundamentalists, through and through. When you finally drag them out, when you pull up the van and you drag them in and you do the intervention, then you start to hear the horror stories. What was it like in the compound? It was awful. Oh, they abused us. Oh. You can't even, and this is to show you a perfect example that you're in a cult. You can't even criticize your candidates. You beg us to do it. You scream it all day. You're always yelling at us. You guys will always back Trump. You need to criticize him more. Okay, criticize Barack Obama. Well, cult. You can't even call out your own candidates. Look at the way that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are absolutely like jumping in and out of hoops without the ability to just say we endorse a communist for mayor of New York. He's clearly captivated the vote in New York, but they cannot openly say that they are for or against the guy, because they know that their base will reject them. That's how a cult operates. When you can't tell people how you truly feel, when you can't tell your own people what you really think, when the person who, I guess in some sort of way is in charge or is leading the pack, if you can't even question them, hey, I don't know if government-run grocery stores are the right way to go. You can't say that. Why? Because you know that the rest of the cultists will turn on you. Banish him. Banish him. Excommunication. Excommunication. You're afraid of the people you're supposed to be leading. Because that's the way they view you. They view you as their leaders, but they don't do that anymore. They don't. Now they lead you. They tell you how to behave. They tell you what you can and cannot do. And then the thing that you demand, the thing that I can't seem to understand is that you demand of everyone else. You demand of everything else the thing that you will not do, the thing that your leaders can't do. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries can't do the thing that they're accusing us of doing. They cannot go against. They cannot and will not go against their dear leader. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't wait until they're absolutely no longer viable. But Kamala Harris is absolutely a dead stick. That's over. Now you guys can reveal what you really think. Oh, she ain't running for nothing? Oh, she's got no political future? Oh, yeah, I hated her. Yeah, I thought she was bad. I couldn't stand that laugh. And she's always rambling. All of a sudden, you're free to just be open and honest. But when she was your candidate, hey, man, what's up with all the cackling? You're just a hater. Cult. You can be mad. But what are you mad about? There's nothing I said that was a lie. Nothing. In fact, they're right now in the chat room. Excellent retort to Trump's mendacity. I don't hear you calling it a lie. I don't hear you in any place claiming that what I said isn't true. You can't deny it, and it's in your actions. Privately, you would never let your children participate in Drag Queen Story Hour. But when asked about it, you'll say, well, parents should be able to do what they want to do. Cult. You don't, just stop it. Just stop it. We know what's really going on. We'll come back. I'll take one or two phone calls before we get to the top of the hour, and then we'll see you guys on the other side of that. So stand by. Be good to each other. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
You want to know what's absolutely ridiculous? And when you're dealing with an absolute novice as it comes to political politics, you must get your politics from a Cracker Jack box. This was an actual statement. Somebody actually wrote this. MAGA isn't a cult? Come on, Reese. Trump requires complete allegiance. Please. Think about that statement. The rest of you who understands how the presidency works and the people he appoints in his cabinet. I want you to think about that. Now, I know the person who's writing that isn't stupid, but he's pretending to be stupid. Think really, really. So you think that the president, who has a mission and a direction for the country, is appointing cabinet members who are going to go rogue. Hey, Pete Buttigieg, whatever you want to do with the Department of Defense. Oh, the Department of War. Hey, Marco Rubio, listen, I've got some visions about how we're supposed to deal with, our global counterparts, but you know what? Whatever you think is good, all right? And then get back to me and tell me what you're doing, okay? If that's the case, right? The Department of Homeland Security, hey, Christie, you know what? I'm trying to stop illegal immigration. But if you think I'm being too harsh, do whatever. Loyalty is not a bad word. Don't sound dumb. Work harder. I know you're not that dumb. Stop pretending. You guys think loyalty is something that you're supposed to scoff at. The president demands loyalty. He's got the fate of the world at his fingertips. And the people that he appoints in those positions should do what he was elected to do, not whatever it is they feel good about. Again, don't sound stupid, especially when you're not. Let's go to David in Northfield. Hello, David.
Hi, Reese. How you doing?
Pretty good. What's up?
Hey, these pregnant women taking the Tylenol. I'm not a doctor or I'm a parent, but that to me is classic adolescent defiance.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what they're going to do when their little brat kids that they're toting around are going to ultimately do it to them, because they will.
It's an interesting perspective. If I were to ever find out that my mom put my life at risk because she was defying the president, who in essence is just saying, look, it's not a good idea because the studies show elsewhere, and they were to act like a child. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, you know what? That child is going to be responsible either putting you in a home, putting you in a assisted living situation. Yeah, I would say that always ends up coming back to bite them. It's a good point, David. I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. We got to take a break coming up. It's weird. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Your phone calls. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic. I think, John, no? I don't know who's in weather, but I know Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. I got to check my notes again. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, let's do the thing. And a hearty congratulations goes to Gary F. in Windsor Locks. He is today's winner of the Between Rounds dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. You can find them in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. And I'm almost certain, is it South Windsor? No, I think it's Vernon. It could be South Windsor. But I know that we're talking about doing an in-store at one of those locations. I want to say it's South Windsor. Jerry will probably, I'll send him an email to find out which one. When I say an in-store, an actual broadcast from there, which I would love to do because I love remotes. That was my favorite thing to do back in the days. Always fun and always funny. It's because I kind of feel like it's really like flying at the seat of your pants kind of radio. The audience is there. You get the feedback from them, and you can, converse with them, talk to them, talk about certain things. So I'm hoping to get that really, really soon. We're also in the process. So Roseanne is on her way back home tomorrow, driving with the boy, Ellis. They're going to drive back, and we're going to do all of our packing, and then we've got to come, driving all the way back, which I am not enthusiastic about. So it might be important to let you guys know that there will be more than likely at least one day, if not 2 days off. I don't want it to be 2 days, like a Friday and a Monday. What I would like it to be is maybe just a Friday. Would it make sense on a Friday or a Monday, Roland? What do you think to take off?
Doesn't really matter.
No, yeah, he doesn't. Like he cares. I don't know. You guys are going to have to tell me what day you think it would be better. Friday seems like it makes sense because it's usually a slow news day. And then just be back on Monday. But I think I should take the extra time so I could just drive at my own pace. Speaking of driving, you know what? I'll ask this guy. Let's go to Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, what do you think? If you had to take a day off on radio and the only 2 days you had was either a Friday or a Monday, which would you take?
Do the Friday.
Friday makes sense,
Friday.
right?
Yeah, it does make sense because you got 2 days to recover after that, after the long drive.
Yeah, because I'm doing a little more than 1,500, maybe 1,700 miles.
Oh yeah, definitely Friday. You're going to need a couple days to recharge your batteries for Monday.
Right. So then
Friday.
even if I get in late Saturday, I got all day Sunday to recoup, and there's nothing going on. It's really, really kind of Sunday has a feel that's very relaxed, so it's perfect. Anyway, okay,
there you go.
We'll do Friday.
That's what I'm thinking. All right.
Thanks, sir.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I love the way CNN is doing whatever it can to, stand by Tylenol. because of this study, like everyone in everywhere is like defending Tylenol. Tylenol use has actually gone down. Oh, and autism rates has gone up. Nobody's saying that it was Tylenol alone, but they're all defending Tylenol. And they've got Sanjay Gupta, who is on there talking about it. It's like, Tylenol. I'm like, Sanjay, you were the guy who refused to step up and correct a soul at CNN about ivermectin use. You stood down. And then after you went on Joe Rogan, when he called you on it and called the network on it, after you said, yes, it was wrong for them to have done it, you went back to CNN on Don Lemon's now defunct show and then tried to spin that one. After you admitted CNN should have never said that he was taking horse dewormer. Then you went on CNN and acted like you didn't say that on Joe Rogan. So forgive me, since people want to talk about who to trust here. Sanjay, not really. Seriously. By the way, I've got it on good notice that Sanjay Gupta was also taking ivermectin, because we found out that Chris Cuomo was too. Yeah, remember that? Yes. While he was on television denouncing it as horse glue or horse dewormer, he was secretly taking it, as were members of Congress. Yeah. I'm no offense, I'm just not going to take your word on this one. Let's go to the phones. Everett, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good. What's up?
I'm just glad Trump didn't tell everybody that it's deadly to jump off a bridge or to jump off a building.
I don't understand how they don't get it.
That last caller, I'll do the opposite of what Trump says. I would suggest to think about these things before you jump to any conclusions.
I don't know. Maybe it is just as simple as an infantile, reaction to Donald Trump. Like maybe the whole theme or the whole idea that Trump is your daddy and you were supposed to rebel, maybe that's the way they look at it.
Well, see, the thing is if they would have stopped talking about Trump 4 years ago, he would have disappeared. They weren't smart enough to keep their mouths shut. They had to keep him on the front page for the next 4 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they weren't smart enough to keep their mouth shut when Charlie passed.
Yeah,
they're not smart. They're not smart people. If they would have just shut their mouth, things would be a lot different today.
Right. There would be there's no national conversation if you're creating the conversation. Right. So, you know what it is? It's funny because what you're tapping on, Everett, was exactly the point that I was making when I was sort of joshing with Tim. I remember making this claim many, many moons ago, and I want to say at least 20 years ago. I used to say ShopRite doesn't put its rivals in their ads. They just say they have better products, right? They have cheaper products, or they have better locations. They just talk about themselves. Imagine being someone in marketing where all you did was talk about your competitor in your marketing. People would be begging, like, why are they focusing so much on the guy who they're trying to beat and not just talking about how good they are or how honest they are or how great for the customer they are? It shines a light on the other guy, which almost makes people curious.
That's almost like calling another radio station and promoting your name.
Sir, I give you a round of applause. Everett, thank you so much. I appreciate you, boss man. Be good. Let me go to my friend. Actually, before I go there, let me go to, you know what? I'll go to Simsbury Joe. What's up, man?
Yeah, that was a great call, Everett. A great call. So I wanted to start off by saying that I believe that Tylenol is even 50% of the cause of autism.
Okay.
I don't know what the percentage is, but I don't even think it's half of it.
Okay.
But let me do some coaching and some educating for some people. So that way, if you're a man, you can talk to a woman based on what I'm going to say. And if you're a woman, you can talk to other women. And if you're a woman who's of childbearing age, then you get some new information. So the problem with the Tylenol is the coated tablets. or coated caplets, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
In that, there's red dye, and red dye is petroleum. So you're taking that stuff every 4 to 6 hours as a pregnant woman, and there is no study out there that says that petroleum part of the Tylenol, and this is where I disagree with Trump on the acetaminophen.
The acetaminophen portion of that. You're saying it's beyond that. You're talking about the coating, and you're so great. It's petroleum, and we're talking about an underdeveloped, if not fully developed child who cannot resist that through an immune system.
Absolutely. So every 4 to 6 hours, and let's say that you're a 175 to 200 pound woman. You're pregnant and your baby's a pound. You're getting that adult size dosage of the petroleum, and it's going to your baby. There is, as I was saying, there's not one study, because some people try saying, it goes through the placenta and it's reduced in the placenta. Okay, what about fetal alcohol syndrome? What about cracked babies?
Great
Stuff
point.
doesn't really get reduced enough.
That's right.
And Tylenol, at its core, is a numbing agent. So you're 150, 175, 200 pounds. Your child's 1 or 2 pounds. So what is the amount that they're actually getting?
That's right.
And the answer is no one has put a trap door at the spot that you could tell that.
Yeah.
So you can only assume that because it's not a natural chemical, it's more of a petroleum, that too much of it is getting to the baby. And that's where the problem is.
It's just,
I knew that before Trump ever even said it.
It's simple math. It goes to the core principle of pregnancy. What's an old adage? She's eating for 2. Well, she's also taking medication for 2. Everything she puts in her body is going into the body of said child.
And unless there's some studies that I'm not aware of, because I certainly would not be aware of this, I've never seen any study that says that they sampled the fetus after the woman had just taken a day and a half of Tylenol.
That would be a comprehensive study.
Yeah. Then, what are you to believe? It's a simple concept, exactly what you just said.
Yeah, it is. That's what you have to put. I believe exactly. I believe in putting it in the most simplest terms, right? If what do women always? And I would always, again, in this instant, as not being a physician, I would use every pregnant mother I've ever experienced in my entire life. I would use their own words. I have no idea why I want pickles and ice cream. They always go, it must be the baby. Right? The weird cravings, the morning sickness. They always say it's all of those things, all of those symptoms are all aspects of the baby doing that to their body. So, of course, right, if the baby's reaction is, in essence, whatever the baby's feeling or the baby's craving, in essence, you crave these weird things that you would never eat before, I would say the opposite happens when you ingest them. So if the baby's craving pickles, the baby's getting pickles when you eat them. If you're ingesting Tylenol at great rates, so is the baby. It's simple. And anybody who pushed back on that, I would just go, then everything you just said makes no sense.
And what we also don't know is we don't know, when I was a fetus, I don't even know if Tylenol was around back then, to be honest with you.
I'm sure it was.
But let's assume that it was. I was set up better to discharge the stuff that was being put into my body by way of my mother. And for reasons we don't comprehend, other fetuses are just not able to discharge that. And some of it remains in the brain or in the gut microbiome, because I think that has something to do with the autism as well. And we just don't know.
Yeah.
So my feeling is very simple in conclusion, is anyone who fights any kind of serious major study to get to the bottom of this is hiding something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And exactly, especially really exhaustive way in which they're doing it, especially the news media. I'm like, dude, you're the last people with any credibility in all of this. Why are you going above and beyond the pushback on this?
You mean the people that told everyone to get the COVID vaccine because it's safe and effective?
I
if
wasn't.
You get it, then you can't give it to someone else. You mean those people?
I wasn't going to say it. That was why I set you up, sir.
Thank you.
You got it, man.
Have a good one.
You too. Yeah, that's the point. That is indeed the point. And I get it. See, the making it about Trump thing, it's not like I don't see it. I totally understand what it's about. Right? Because, again, that the objective here is, like I've said for weeks now, is to give people license to behave badly and then say it's Trump's fault for you doing it. Hey, why'd you punch that baby in the face? Because Trump says mean things. Hey, why'd you cut that guy off on the highway? Because it's such a volatile time that we're living in, thanks to Donald Trump. Hey, man, why are you cutting the line at the movie theater? Why? What do you care? You probably voted for Trump. These excuses for poor behavior and putting it on Trump, it's laughable. In the fact that people don't see it, they don't recognize it. I don't want to call it mental illness. I don't think it is. I really do believe it's just petulant. That's what I believe it is. I think it's just petulance. What's going on, Tim?
So, it's interesting. In a related story, we've got the wind farm coming back that the Trump administration, even though it was 80% completed and everything, Trump went around for years saying that wind farms cause cancer with absolutely no proof. So now we're suddenly, if we're to believe the president, now this is going to be some cancer risk. It's the same thing also to me when I hear him at that press
Tim,
conference
can I stop you for a quick second before you go into
say,
another direction?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The reason why is because I want to stick on the thing because then you're going in another realm, and I want to stick with what you just said about the wind farms. Okay. So Donald Trump says that wind farms cause cancer without any scientific evidence. Can you explain to me how this equates to the announcement yesterday with Tylenol? Did Donald Trump say not to take acetaminophen because he had no scientific evidence?
Because he says whatever the heck.
No, sir. Please. No. You're being general, and I'm being. Hold on. This is a specific.
I'm being general.
Okay. No. I know you.
When he says
Tim,
like,
stop for a
Cuba
second.
has no autism.
Tim. I'm trying. You're being general when I'm trying to be specific because we are talking about two separate specific things. And you brought up the wind farms, right? So you said he said one thing about the wind farms where he had no scientific evidence, and then yesterday he makes the claim about acetaminophen. Was it without scientific evidence? Because I just showed you the Harvard study that was done a month ago, and the doctors who were there from Bhattacharya to McCary, they all confirmed, in their view, that this study is sound. How does it have anything to do with Trump and what he said about wind farms?
There are other studies out there that,
No. Please stop. You're going in other directions. I'm trying to be fair to you because you, again, remember my golden rule. Set the standard. You must live by it. You said he did one thing without scientific evidence, and we're talking about acetaminophen. Could you stay around there, please, without going to other places? Don't make excuses. Acetaminophen, I'm not going to trust him on that, even though he had scientists to back him up. And your retort to that is wind farms that he had no scientific evidence on.
Well,
so
no,
my question is can you parse the two?
Side issue.
Okay,
that
but can you parse? But Tim, can you parse?
Issue.
Can you parse the two? Or is it everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth, with or without scientific evidence, supposed to be ignored?
I was going to, before I was so rudely interrupted, I was going to talk about the fact that he was talking about Cuba in the next breath, how they don't have autism.
I was just asking the question, sir, whether or not, are you saying that everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth, be it with scientific evidence or without?
If he stood up there and said everyone should listen to your doctors and all that sort of stuff.
Tim, it's just a simple question. Are we supposed to take everything he says as false, whether he has the scientific evidence to back it up or not? It's a simple question.
Yeah, I think right now more and more people are saying But he says, don't take Advil. Don't take all, and then said all the headache medicine.
Tim, I gotta go.
work.
I gotta take a break. I gotta take a
He
break.
doesn't know.
I'm sorry. Did anybody hear me try? It was a simple question, right? Let's get a check of the traffic. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, everybody, stand by. We will get to your phone calls in a moment. We take a moment like this so we can, of course, tell everybody to go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. You could check out this show immediately after, of course, if you're not on Odyssey or, of course, the WTIC.com. I've actually got a little mission, if you can. If you go to the podcast section of Reese on the Radio, if you go there right now, click onto it. Just listen to any show you want from, for 5 minutes. I didn't realize this, but if I look at it now, let me see if I can go. I want to look at it just because. I'm in the wrong place now. According to this, I go to my actual website, which I don't really go to all that much. But if you go to the website, there is a list of all of the podcasts of the show. And that was even when I used to do just my little hour-long show before I got here at WTIC. And I looked at it, and on there, believe this or not, there are 641 episodes. 641 episodes. And because I like silly things like this, right next to it, if you look to the right when you go to reeseontheradio.com, you'll see how many hours I've logged on air. It is 751 hours and 28 minutes. That is me talking for 751 hours. Because again, each one of them is clipped with no commercial. That's 751 hours. The fact that I sit here and do 4 hours a day with, thank goodness for commercial breaks and our fine sponsors for giving me a break. But I look at that. Now, why am I telling people to go there? Let me explain to you why I'm telling you to go there. So if you go there and you go to the little section that's right under the Substack and you go there, and you can pick any episode that you want. So another cool thing that I get to do is I get to see who's listening where. So wherever you are in the country, whatever town that you're in, unless your town has like a population of like 4, it says other. So I know where you're listening from. Why I also mention it is, and this is crazy, the Reese on the Radio program this past week has been everywhere. Australia, Paris, Dublin, it's everywhere. I'm seeing countries I'm like, really? They listen to me there? I thought it was just India, but it's everywhere. The UK listens. I didn't realize it. I'm thinking it's people in Connecticut that have moved to all of these places, but it's everywhere. So check out the show. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. I wonder what people in the UK say about me. Wouldn't you want to know that? Like, what do they think about you in England?
Yeah, they probably think I'm just a fat, lazy American. That's probably my judgment.
I hope you know that this exchange is heard by these people all across the world. So they know who Mark Christopher is.
Wow, that's true.
Yeah, now you should put this on your card. Internationally known Mark Christopher.
Well, listen to everybody in England.
Yeah.
I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we do appreciate you listening. I don't have information on London traffic, even though I know it is horrendous there. So
we know it
sucks.
Here in
Hartford. Yeah, it does. Hey,
the NAACP calls him. Whoa! I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let's go to the phones. What's going on, Julie? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. What's going on?
Okay. So normally I can't be bothered to be petty with these stupid people, but I'm just so fed up with all of them that I just think we have to go scorched earth. I know you're not asking for that woman to be fired. She needs to be fired because she's not an English teacher or a math teacher. She's a freaking behavioral therapist.
Yes.
How is she supposed to be a behavioral therapist to your child when she can't even control her own behavior?
Well, that's you hit the nail on the head. It is obvious that her own behavior is a testament that she can clearly not regulate anyone else's. For those of you who are just joining us, Julian Boston's talking about is a young woman by the name of Danielle Slaughter Lozer, who is a Newtown behavioral therapist who wrote these scathing posts about Charlie Kirk and people who celebrated him in any way after his assassination. And Julie is suggesting that, she should lose her job because she runs the risk of being in a position with the child. Now, look, I would even go so far as to say this, Julie. Some people might argue, well, she has mixed-race children and 2 of her stepchildren are white, according to her own Facebook page. Clearly, she wouldn't be racist towards them. Well, I would argue that, and maybe you would as well, is that means nothing because what she thinks of her own children is one thing. What she thinks of yours is another. Yes?
Oh, no, absolutely. Especially, any children that she thinks is from a family that is conservative.
Yeah.
She's not going to treat well.
So you believe she should be fired?
Yes, because how is she supposed to do her job when she has no clue what it means to control your behavior?
Yeah.
So forget her. And then the other guy who called there that is arguing with you about the Tylenol. I don't know if he has kids. I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't know this guy. I'm guessing from the sound of his voice that he doesn't go with women to want to have kids. I don't know, but
okay.
If he's ever had kids, he would know. I know people think childbirth is not a big deal because we have modern medicine. Women still die all the time at birth. And it's serious. I couldn't even eat tuna when I was pregnant because they told me there was too much mercury in canned tuna. So it's something as innocuous as tuna. So if I even think there's a possibility acetaminophen is going to ruin my pregnancy, I don't want to take it. Tell me.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not.
Women don't want to take anything that might mess them up.
Yeah, that's the part I'm not getting in all of this with the women who are filming themselves. I do believe, I don't want to make this more than what it is. I believe that these women who are filming themselves doing this are about as fringe as you can get. It gives the impression that it's more than it isn't, but I still can't help but look at them as a case study and say, why? That makes no sense to me.
Exactly. But I mean, he's got to, as a man, he's going to argue with you over whether women who are pregnant should trust
Donald Trump
is saying, and like you said, with science or without science.
And he would, and the crazy part about it, Julie, he would eliminate himself from the conversation if this was about a woman ending her pregnancy, but yet engage about the medicine that she takes while pregnant. That thing he should chime in on because it involves Donald Trump. But if Donald Trump wasn't involved, the pregnancy issue he would immediately omit from. I think he would immediately retreat from. So,
right. Well, this is why I'm being petty now because I'm tired of these people. They're just demented.
I believe that there's a degree of dementia going on. Thank you, Julie.
Good to talk to you. Bye.
Always. Mark in West Hartford, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Julie, I'm not sure if that guy you're talking about has kids, but believe me, he loves little kids.
Hey, stop it.
Listen, Reese.
Don't say that.
What? Well, you were almost playing that game I talked about last week.
What's that?
6 degrees to Donald Trump. Just pick any hot topic of the day. You were right there. I was going, oh, my God, he's playing the game. He doesn't even know it. He can tie anything in. Listen, I wanted to talk about acetaminophen, but let's talk about Danielle Slaughter Lozier.
Oh, Danielle, yes.
Now here's what's going to happen. Here's my prediction, and it's going to be sad and frustrating and just all wrong. You're going to see at the next BOE meeting in that town, people come up to the microphone, and you know what's going to happen and come from it? Nothing, because these people all across Connecticut, basically across the country. All they do is sit there. They built these policies. They're so layered for protection that you can't get them to answer emails, phone calls, never mind when you show up in person and you get your 3 minutes of time. So these people are going to go there, and they're going to lay out something either lucid or angry or whatever, which rightfully they're all going to do it rightfully so, and nothing's going to come.
Do you think that part of the reason, Mark, do you think part of the reason they won't do anything has a little bit to do with what I was talking about in my monologue, and that is because they're scared to death to take any action against this woman because of her race?
I totally believe that. I mean, I didn't look up the demographics. Maybe we'll do it, or you do it on your next break.
Sure.
I love breaking down these towns by demographics. I have a feeling we'll be shocked to see how many.
But I do believe that that's how they behave. I really do believe that, look, what was one of the things that we talked about when I first got on WTIC? It was there was a behavior within the media where the NAACP and Black Lives Matter 860 didn't have to, they would put a half-ass press release together to the news media, and they would come a-running at the most ridiculous claims of racism ever, including the story about the young lady who was sent home because she violated the dress code with coloring her hair. That had to be treated like Rosa Parks was not allowed to sit at the front of the bus.
Can I repeat what happened to me for those who didn't hear it? But I begged not only BLM 860, but the Connecticut chapter, the NAACP, to assist me in West Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt the 11-year-old, it's public information, Jade Gator, was bullied. In fact, about 200 yards from my house at an elementary school, they sent her and her tormentor to the same middle school in the same class.
Wow.
And within months, she went into a school bathroom in West Hartford and hung herself to death.
Yep.
Now, I knew it was all wrong. They had a 3-day police report that I went and got. The only one to get the report like 6 months later. Thanks to Juan in East Hartford. He's the one that told me about it, and I was shocked. I was going, what are you talking about? To this day, if I tell people somebody hung themselves in that, I still have people going, what?
Yeah.
Here?
It got no attention.
And so BLM didn't show up. NAACP didn't show up. The media, none of them would assist me. And then one day, you remember this last year, a little over a year ago, a teacher used the N-word, not in the way we think, in the fashion that they portrayed it in a West Hartford school, and she had to resign.
Yep.
And guess what? BLM, I knew they were coming. I swear to God, I'll never forget. I'm standing there in front because they're going to a BOE meeting to cause trouble. They come around the corner with that. They were all following them like little puppy dogs.
Yep.
They were following Evelise, and it was NBC Connecticut, TNH, FSB, and Fox 61. And they proceeded to watch me engage them. I had one of them take my phone. None of them filmed it. None of them asked me who
I'll tell you the part that
major confrontation.
Can I tell you the most egregious part of that video when I first saw it was there were reporters there, or at least people with cameras, station cameras, who were sitting around with their back to you folks as you had this explosive confrontation in the both of them. Like, in essence, you got one activist and another activist confronting each other on a story, something that they should have had their cameras fixated on, and they had their cameras down and on their phones, either texting or looking at social media while it was going. The only reason why we know that it happened is because you recorded it. And the rest of them just acted like nothing was happening. We're talking about a full-blown shouting match between Mark and Evilise, and these folks, the news folks, did nothing. They sat there and just let it happen and didn't even cover it.
And look at what they came out for. The media came out just like you said. They put out a half-baked press release with no facts. All they know is that they're gonna chime in and cause some disruption at a BOE meeting. They all show up for it.
Mm-hmm. And you know how that goes. Racism, get in the news van. Hurry up.
The funny thing is, the two people that were there representing BLM 860, I don't know. They didn't look black to me. Take that for what it's worth. All right.
Well, that That's kind of par for the course, my friend, to be honest with you.
All
Thank
right,
you,
brother.
buddy. I
Thank you
appreciate
again.
you. You got it. Yeah, I mean, that's, this thing with the Slaughter-Loser thing, no, I don't expect anything to happen. But that's my point. I don't want them to fire. I get where Julie's coming from, and I get where anybody else is coming from saying she needs to be fired. I get it. I don't want that. I want it's easy to get rid of her because then she's gone, and then they find other ways to cover up. No. I want confrontation. I want answers. I want someone speaking up or admonishing that behavior. Somebody's got to speak up for it because, again, if nothing happens, this is licensed to do worse. And that's the way people behave. That's a kind of a bullying tactic. They find out that you're not going to fight back. Oh, you're not going to push back on me calling you a white devil? Oh, well, let's see how far I can go. And that's what she'll do. She'll feel invincible. That's why I say you got to go a different route. It isn't as simple as, oh, we suspended her. We thought what she said was wrong, and we've decided to suspend her for a week and have her think about what she's done. No, thank you. No, thank you. And trust me when I tell you, we will get a conversation. We will. I'll find a way to get in touch with old Danielle so we can have a conversation, and maybe she can explain herself. Please tell me more about the White Devils. That'll be my first question. So what was it? Charlie Kirk is what? Yeah, tell me more. I'm going to give her I'm going to give her the floor. Yes. Tell us about the racism of America, the one that inspired you to marry your husband, this racist, bigoted, evil place where you found love. Sorry, I'm sorry. Nobody can see the ridiculousness in that. Come on, where's all my black activists? Come on, civil rightsers, where are you? Where are you? You mean to tell me that this woman, clearly offended by Charlie Kirk speaking ill of black women, just speaking ill about her and her mama and her sister and all the black women of America, and then to find out that she is married to a white man, and you got nothing? Let me help you. Let me help you. Civil righteous, let me help you, just in case you were wondering what this all means. Wait for it. Cult. That's what it is. That's what it is. Cult. When we come back, I've got movie news. This one I'm actually kind of interested in. And, of course, it involves one of the biggest movie stars in the world. And I think he's doing something different, something I don't think we've seen him do since 2008. We'll get to that in a little bit, so stand by for that. And, of course, we'll take your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Hollywood News with your correspondent, Reese on the radio. All the glitz, all the glamour. It's Hollywood News. I wait for you patiently to do that part. That's your contribution to the segment. So, Roland, you would know this because I know that you love this particular movie. And if you didn't love the movie, I know you love the scene. Tom Cruise dancing at the end of Tropic Thunder. I know that you love that. Okay, because my wife is crazy about it. So Tom Cruise has actually turned that moment into some actual stage performances. He did one with Jennifer Lopez at an award show. I think it was the MTV Movie Awards or something like that. So he plays this character, Sal something, who's a very gruff and cursing, over-the-top movie producer in the film Tropic Thunder, of course. That movie was absolutely great from back in 2008.
Yeah, it was.
There wasn't anybody in that film. In my view, the only person I thought that sort of dragged it was Jack Black. But everybody, in my view, he just wasn't my favorite character. But in fact, Jack Black is doing another version of Tropic Thunder with a film called Anaconda, which is a film inside of a film. It's a kind of a stupid thing. But anyway, he's doing that again. But Tropic Thunder was absolutely a hilarious movie and a tour de force for everybody in it, especially Tom Cruise and Robert Downey Jr. Sorry?
They could never put that movie out now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I remember being on the radio, and the controversy was the use of the word retard in the film.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a huge deal back in 2008. But anyway, so Tom Cruise is not really known for doing comedy in film. This was one of those rare moments where he did. Well, apparently he's doing another comedy. It's called Judy, but this one's supposed to be a dark comedy produced by the director, the Oscar-winning director who did Birdman with Michael Keaton and The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. So this is supposed to be a comedy that Tom Cruise is doing. I don't know when it's coming out, and I don't recognize any of the names of the people who are in this movie, with the exception of John Goodman, who is going to be in the film. So I would love to see Tom Cruise in a comedy, because he's just not known to do it, with the exception of the role in Tropic Thunder. And he was so good in that. I'm kind of looking forward to him doing something a little lighthearted. And if there was anything lighthearted he did you see that movie Mummy he did?
Yeah, that was good.
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But it didn't do well because people thought it was going to be a new Tom Cruise sort of franchise or vehicle for him. But the film didn't do that well, so they sort of abandoned it. So I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's because they took away from
the Brendan Fraser thing.
The real Mummy that was, a classic hit.
I thought that was. I'm still, to be honest with you, I thought that they captured the same level of Indiana Jones films in those Mummy films. With Brendan Fraser.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about it.
The comedy, the subtleness,
exactly,
yeah,
and all of the special effects. Yeah, it was absolutely great. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS traffic center. Tom Cruise in a comedy. Sound interesting enough?
I don't think of him as being a funny
guy.
guy.
Exactly. That's what I think. That's the reason why I'm intrigued. He's doing some film named Judy, a film called Judy, where it's supposed to be sort of a dark comedy. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, a little bit different for him.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, I want to thank everybody who's been actually following the show in several of the platforms, from X to YouTube, and of course following on Facebook. Thank you all for doing that and growing those numbers. I don't promote it all that much on there. We have grown organically without all of the promotion because more and more of you are talking about the show. And I know that usually that is frowned upon in my marketing department. But I'm looking and I'm checking all the time. Just so everybody knows, I'm checking. I'm making sure that the show is as popular as people tell me that it is. And I know a lot of you often tell me, you send me private messages like, Reese, man, a lot of people talking about your show. And I do thank you. I really, really do. And I only want to do what I can to make sure that you are not you don't look like you're silly when people do check out the show. Man, I listened to that dude's show. He corny. Man, I checked out his show, man. That was a waste of my time. I try to make sure that you're not wasting your time, or you're not wasting your friend's time. So I will do as much as I can and the best that I can. Today, I was actually worried about this. I was looking at news, and I was like, please don't tell me that the biggest news of the day is Kamala Harris's book. Please don't. Please. I love Connecticut, but I don't think I could talk about Dequat again. I just don't think so. And I knew I was going to get into this Newtown story, which, by the way, Kathleen Walsh is going to call up in a couple of minutes. About 15, 20 minutes, she'll be on the line to talk about this, because she is literally at ground zero on this story, and we'll talk to her about what parents are saying and parents who are contacting the school about this and whether or not they're making any headway on this subject. So and we'll talk to her about that and see. I just contacted the Connecticut Sentinel because they were one of the few places, if not the only, that's actually reporting on this story. You can go to Connecticut Sentinel to find out yourself. Rob, what's going on with you today, sir? Nothing? Okay, fine by me. Hello, Patty.
Hi, thanks for taking my call, Reese.
Always, Patty.
I have some information I think, that's nice, thank you. I have some information I think you'll be really interested in, and you probably never heard it before either.
What's
and
that?
It has to do with Tylenol. You know, I have like 4 different studies, but I don't think I'm not going to use the time to read them. But I am going to say, in one particular one, I'll just use one. It triggered illness was linked 2.5-fold higher in autism among girls with multiple fevers. Risk climbed to nearly 4-fold. It was 674,000 children. But I'm going to tell you what's happening. What actually is really, really important, and this came from Dr. Stephanie Senes, in a video with a person whose child was severely autistic, born in 1998, 2 years after a product was put on the market. And it actually is in a lot of our foods. It's in all live vaccines.
What happened?
Bella, and I believe varicella. And so what is actually happening is this particular product in our food that is very, very poisonous, causing all kinds of cancers. It's used in all kinds of food. It genetically modifies foods. And what happens is it displaces one of our chemical reactions. It starts in the stomach. Mm-hmm. And the end result, to shorten it for this phone call, is it disrupts an extremely important antioxidant, one of the most important in our body, with a chain of reactions that she explains in full detail, and I don't have the time to.
Okay.
So it's called glutathione. Hang on. So what also is happening, the children that are getting the shots usually are between the ages of 2 and 8. They're getting a series of injections. Some of them are live vaccines, and they give them all together. We talked about this before, 3 in each syringe, so maybe they're getting 9 on one particular day. This little tiny child, immature immune system, they're given these, and they too are, as a result, they get the shots, they go home. Within a week's time, the child is crying, fevers, some have seizures, and what actually happens? They get the fever, and then they get the Tylenol. The Tylenol is known to be disruptive to glutathione, and it is further weakening a weakened immune system.
Wow.
And sometimes physicians tell them, as mine did when my daughter was little, to give it to them before you even go to the office, furthering disabling the immune system. Glutathione, I will call back and give you more information. I need to have more time.
No, it's okay. I want to ask you a follow-up to that, because I want to know everything that is that you have on that. And you have my number to text me anything that you have on it. I want to. Patty said there's something that always happens when you start talking, and I start thinking about things, and I always like to, in a very, I guess egomaniacal way, I always direct them towards me, because I've never really, as a child, talked about this growing up. But I remember this vividly, because I'm thinking in my childhood, because I'm so old, how many times did I go and get vaccinated, right? I had to make sure I had my shots before we went to school. That was always important. You have to have that immunization card when you go into class. This happened to me, and I'm hoping, because I'm doing it on the fly, I'm hoping you can answer this for me. Was I kidding myself when every time I would get a shot in my arm, I always experienced excruciating pain in that arm? Like, it almost felt like someone had injected a golf ball into my arm. Like, I remember as a child, very early teens, would get some immunization shot in my arm, and the rest of the day I would feel like, imagine you had been you had been tortured by holding like up a weight.
I do that with tetanus.
Okay, so
I do that with tetanus.
okay, so is that
I couldn't even put my fingernail on. You
Is-
may be sensitive to something in the product or the product itself.
Okay, so I
And
wasn't hallucinating.
This came from an immunologist. You never get a booster to one of your vaccines unless it's later than 10 years
okay?
because you may have immunity, and if you get it, you will have a huge reaction, and the extremity will blow way up, and you may have a very, very bad reaction.
It was
But
really
the
weird.
immunologist told me,
It happened every time.
people are
And
sensitive to tetanus, you know.
right, so this would happen, and I always thought it was crazy because I'm certain of it because I remember where I lived and how old I was. But it started to happen roughly around the ages of like 10, 11, or 12. And I would get that, and it would feel like it would be so painful, like I had been lifting something
Well, you
for a
maybe
long
had
amount of time.
injections. You maybe had vaccines for them when you were younger, because that's the DPT shot, diphtheria.
Huh.
Diphtheria, and then you have the tetanus.
I'll never. Every time I said that to my mom, and my sister would.
The one thing you wrote, and this is, I'll just tell you this quick: oxidative stress. When they talk about that in the cell, Reese, what they actually mean is the cell can no longer make ATP, and ATP is necessary for each of our cells in our bodies, and there's loads of cells in an organ to make ATP because it's energy. So if you are compromised, and actually that's why they talk about radiation, even the stuff on the street, it depletes the body of what's called antioxidants. And glutathione is one of the most important antioxidants in our body. So here you have a newborn baby getting maybe 9 vaccines at the same time.
Right.
And again, they also have the disruptor from the live vaccines already been exposed to this other product that they're putting in a lot in our foods.
Right.
And now you already have a baby who's under stress, and then you give them Tylenol. And they're making this analogy, Reese. It's actually, I'm going to even send you this little picture. Vaccines exposure. You see the child start to cry, a seizure, fever, and then they give Tylenol. Given depletes glutathione.
Yeah, it's so funny. I saw that graph. I saw the
developmental regression, autism.
Yeah, I saw that exact graph you're talking about this morning. Thank you, Patty, as always, and thank you for always answering my questions on the fly. I really appreciate it.
Glutathione is huge.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more down the road. Glutathione is huge.
You got
And
it.
Dr. Brian Booker, Children's Health Defense. His child, 1996, was born. 1998, this poison that they're putting in the crops was put out. He is severely autistic.
Wow.
He's a wonderful human being. And that video I'm going to send you with Dr. Sinesh in it also. MIT 50 years. She deserves a medal because I'm going to tell you she's devoting the rest of her life to this.
Yeah.
She's devoting the rest of her life to this.
Thank you, Patty. Always appreciate it. Thank you so much. You got it. Let me get Rob, who's back in Merida. Hello, Rob. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Sorry about that, Reese. I appreciate you picking the call back up. The other guy said, one of your coworkers, you need a shield to deflect all the callers, you know. But I appreciate you picking up my call.
Okay.
I go all over the place and this and that, but I have a few questions if you don't mind.
A few? How about just one before I have to go to a break?
Okay, how about this? This is an opinion, and hopefully you'll pick up after the break. But you laugh too much like Kamala Harris. Then I'll pick up after the break if you want to hear.
Rob, that's not even a question. Are you calling to criticize my laughing?
No, I'm just saying you sort of sound like Kamala.
It's Kamala, but, even I have to correct her name for you? Okay, thanks, Rob. I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate
Okay, but you do have intelligent callers, and, but about the research and stuff. Like yesterday, I talked about Epstein had 33 cameras, and I didn't do the research to see if all 33 were activated.
You could have, as I expressed yesterday to you, Rob, and this is the important part.
No, about doing research. But you do research on Tylenol, and it's like, how do you know
I
the
actually
research is correct?
I actually, how do I know the research is correct? That's a great question. That's
Well,
probably
the Epstein files are obvious.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so Rob,
Yes.
can I just stop interrupting?
Yes.
So help me out here. So you're really obsessed with this Epstein thing, huh?
I like Trump. I think he's going to.
That's not what I'm asking you.
ruin the
Why
midterm.
can't you
He's
just
gonna ruin it.
wait? You ask me a question, I respond to it. Then I ask you a question, you completely deflect.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
asking
I'm
you
sorry.
again. You're really obsessed with this Epstein thing, huh?
just me. The whole world is.
It's just say yes or no, sir. You're really
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
1,000%
That's
yes.
all it is. Okay, so do you want to call up every time and talk about Epstein? Is that what your goal here is?
Well, it's not the police.
No, sir.
not
It's
the
a yes or
police
no
anymore.
question. Can we try that? You
Oh,
really want to
yes,
call
no.
up every day and talk about
No,
Epstein?
how about Hegseth? Talk about
No, I'm
Hegseth.
asking you again. Because the last 3 calls, you've made them about Epstein. So you really...
It is Epstein.
Can you
It
not
is.
answer?
It's disturbing.
Is it difficult for you to answer the question because it's a trick question?
No.
So let's
I'm
just
just
stick to
concerned about
answering the
the
question. You really want to
go ahead.
talk about Epstein. You seem to be obsessed about it, right? So every time you call, you just want to talk about Epstein, right?
The cover up.
Yeah. But Epstein is your focus, right?
Not necessarily. It's
But
not a
that's
focus.
all
What
you've
about
been
Ukraine,
calling
too?
about. I'm taking you.
Ukraine is a big focus.
I'm
too.
taking. You've never talked about Ukraine, so you talk about Epstein.
But I go all over the place.
But you
That's a
want.
good deflection.
Oh, now you go all over the place. Perhaps maybe that's the problem.
I'm talking about Epstein. Epstein. What about Epstein?
Yeah, because again, not answering my question. You're obsessed about the Epstein story, yes?
Absolutely.
Thank
Me
you.
and a lot of
There,
other
that's
things.
that's all it took. That's all it took. It
Thank
took
you.
all
Thank
of
you,
it.
Reese.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. Just so we understand each other. I am not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I just watched a lot of Law and Order. Okay? I have a degree from Law and Order University. I know how to lead a witness to the answer I'm looking for. Never ever ask a question you don't already know the answer to. I get it. And it isn't about me. None of that stuff is about me. That is only about them. How can I get on the radio? How can I get people to hear me? This is just like the opening monologue. How can I make this about me and people hearing me and what I have to say? I don't know if he's lonely. I don't know if he's misunderstood or ignored or he can't get anyone to listen to him. But I know the reason why. It's like, how can I call up the station and have people hear me and my voice? I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. I just don't. I don't try to. When we come back from the break, we'll talk to Kathleen Walsh. She's one of the local organizers here of Thin Blue. What is it? It's not. What am I talking about? That's not the name of an organization. Goodness gracious. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm forgetting the name of our organization because I'm so off track. But anyway, Kathleen Walsh, she's going to be here in a little bit. She's going to talk to me a little bit about the issue with Danielle Slaughter Lozer and the Newtown School. She'll be here in a little bit, so stand by for that. Let's get another check of weather and traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
Stand by. We'll get Kathleen Walsh on the line to talk about this issue at the Newtown School. Also, it's what had happened was, which, again, if you go to the Odyssey app, download the Odyssey app, you can get Reese on the radio whenever you like. Also, go to WTIC.com. You can find the podcast there as well. And also at ReeseOnTheRadio.com, you can find the opening monologue there, as we talked about people who are obsessed with chiming in on subjects that have nothing to do with them and risking their careers. We also talk about Kamala Harris and her book tour. I'm sure more and more things will fall out of that. Jimmy Kimmel is also returning tonight. But we also learned that Sinclair and Nexstar are not going to be covering, or at least showing his program. They are going to preempt it with news and other programming. We'll see exactly what happens because it'll be all anyone is talking about and all anyone's watching. Also, we'll find out whether or not it was the best ratings he's had in over 14 years. We'll get into that as well. I did want to talk about this. Maybe I'll talk about it before we get out of here. Is the Killingly man who wrote all of these things on his home that were anti-Trump and anti-MAGA. Well, you may have learned that not only did he lose his job because of this, but his wife has left him as well. And this guy's entire life is starting to sound like a horrible country song. in all of it. This is a really, really bad story. And I don't know. It just seems like a way to go to put yourself on Front Street. You're just a homeowner. And you allow the newspaper to cover you. The newspaper's eager. Look at this anti-Trump guy. He really doesn't like MAGA. Let's put him on the cover of the paper. And they do that, and they put him on the cover of the paper. It affects his job. It isolates his home in some way. His poor wife forced to leave out of fear or just simple frustration. I don't know. And again, I don't understand it. Why ruin your life? Is it really worth it? I don't think it is. I don't even know if there's I would love to talk to someone who had something like this happen to them and then see what their life is like afterwards. I say, hey, what's life been like after you railroaded your entire career? That sounds mean. I'm sorry. I'm doing better. I'm trying to be better. We'll come back. More news, more views, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. Let's get to Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, ABC has 250 affiliates. So
Yeah.
St. Clair and Nextar, those two ownership groups, that's 110 out of 250 affiliates that aren't showing him tonight. So
I know, but it means that everyone who hasn't bothered to watch his show that was outraged about his suspension, now they all have to watch, and they have to watch it every day from now on to justify him coming back in the first place because they weren't even interested. Now they have to be.
No, his ratings were diving. Over the last year, he lost a lot of his audience.
Yeah, I tried to make this. I don't know if you heard this, but I was making this sort of breakdown of it. Stephen Colbert in the 18 to 49 market was pulling in 249,000 viewers in the month of August. His show's been canceled. Jimmy Kimmel was pulling in 129 in that same demo. 129,000.
That's the demo they want.
Yeah, exactly. So you're pulling in almost half Colbert's,
Right.
and Colbert's out of
Got
here.
canceled.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, what justifies you being here? It makes no sense.
They're all losing money.
Yeah.
Those shows are losing money. It's
Yeah.
just a different audience now. I don't know. I don't think these guys can hold a candle to like Carson and Letterman and Conan O'Brien. That's my opinion. But
Me too.
But everybody watches stuff online. I think that a lot of people watch the show the next day. They watch the clips.
Also
they don't
true.
actually watch
Hey,
the show.
Fallon is killing it online. I mean, he's getting millions of views online with the little bits that he does.
Yep.
I don't even like that show, but he's killing it. I mean, the people like it.
Yeah, I mean, the late night television, I don't know, in the format that it's in now, I don't think it's going to last much longer, but
it may have to go online.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, because
Yeah.
they're losing a lot of money. There's
Indeed.
no doubt about that. Reese, thank you very much.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Okay, normally I wouldn't have a guest this late in the show, but I want to thank her nonetheless for joining the program. Kathleen Walsh is on the line. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Very happy to join you. I'm sorry I have a terrible cold, so my voice sounds terrible.
No, you sound fantastic on my end. Don't worry about that. Just it's like kind of like a Kathleen Turner, kind of like raspy. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I do. I have that raspy, sexy voice going on.
So talk to me a
This is
little
an
bit.
important issue, so I had it.
Yeah, not a problem. And I appreciate that. So you have a petition, or at least there's a petition out that says the petition for the immediate dismissal of Danielle Slaughter-Lozer from Newtown schools. Right now, that petition is sitting at 318 folks. We need at least 500 in order for this to be considered or for people to take it up.
Well, actually, we could do better than 500. I actually sent it to you already. So, no, we live in Connecticut. Newtown desperately needs our help. And here's why. Danielle and her little group in Newtown have been a cancer on this town for far too long. This is the time is ripe right now to help Newtown. So I sent you the link for the survey.
I do.
You have it there. So if you could share it with your listeners, 500. I want 1,000, and I want to see that hit 1,000 by Friday. We could do this, Connecticut. And I also sent you the links for the wonderful Connecticut Sentinel article.
Yes.
Everyone just needs to open that up and read it, and you will be horrified. It has not only her post that she spoke about Charlie Kirk, her post on how she spoke about the death of our President Trump, but also past posts for the last year or so. Totally inappropriate. They are racist. They talk. You could see how she has, contempt for white people.
Clearly.
How she talks I mean, have you gone through them all? How she talks terribly with her own community, with other parents. It's totally unacceptable. She needs to be terminated like yesterday. So 500.
Kathleen, talk to me a little bit about the inability for people. I mean, I know that there are parents who are outraged by this, and they have been calling the school system. Do you think that there is a reluctance by Newtown to do anything about it because they seem to be fumbling around like all thumbs because this particular woman in question is African-American or black, for that matter?
Yes, and to that group because of the Newtown Alleys for Change.
Okay.
They've caused quite a ruckus in there, and because it started with the George Floyd thing, they've made this little group. It's a tiny group. They're small, but they're loud, and it's time to shut them down. The DEI stuff they push, everything. Now it's over. It's garbage. They just had 2 months ago. They got up there, the leaders, and said, "With the root of all evil in that town is white supremacy." Wow. Can you imagine in this day and age? It was just 2 months ago. I have it. I can send you the link for that.
Please do.
See it. We are not exaggerating. This is what they're pushing. The two leaders, a white woman and a black woman, got up there and said, the root to all evil is white supremacy. They actually said this, at the Rock to Democracy. They have these little stupid little things in the center of town, in Newtown. It's ridiculous what they're pushing, and it's got to get it out of our school system and even out of the police department there in Newtown. It is the cancer. We got to stop it from growing. I don't know if I could just read real quick. Do we have a minute? This is what he said about Charlie Kirk. He was a mediocre white man whose mouth finally caught up with him.
Yeah, I read, Kathleen, I read the whole thing on the air because I told people.
Oh, you did?
That, yes, I read, of course I did. I read the whole thing on here because, and again, there's so much about what she wrote that it's not just that I find the stuff that she wrote alarming. On the opposite side of it that makes it so, in my view, so egregious is that while she is saying these things about white people, I look at her Facebook page, which again is open view. I'm looking at it. I'm going, at first I thought I was on the wrong page. I was like, am I on the right page? There's no way that this is the woman we're talking about. Her husband's white. She has stepchildren who are white. She has mixed race children. Like I'm sitting there going, am I living in an alternate universe?
Exactly. A beautiful white husband, beautiful children.
Yeah.
She's living a double life. I don't understand.
The double life.
Nasty. If you could see her in the group, she's nasty. It's like an evil woman. You could see by the post. It's terrible. And just another thing, I don't know if they came up earlier because I'm sorry I wasn't listening.
It's okay.
Today, but her little group, Newtown Alleys of Change, what they did after Trump won, they made a little booklet of all businesses to boycott in Newtown. Anyone that had a Trump sign. Anybody that had a Trump sign, anybody that had a red hat, they made a book. And they have like 12, it's a private group, and they have 1,200 members, and they all boycotted any.
So women, now they're going, women, so they went so far as to go after local businesses for their political views?
Exactly, yes.
And no one said a word?
No, but it was shared in all the Newtown businesses. That's how much power they have, and that's why we got to shut them down. That's why it was shared, and people.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no!
Exactly.
Wait.
Even at the famous ice cream place there, they banned them because someone had a red hat on that worked there. I mean, that's how evil it got. It was terrible. Someone could just have like a little Trump sign on their thing. Okay, banned. Boom. They banned businesses just for having a support Trump. Yes, it was terrible.
All right.
It was terrible. I could show you those.
No. Do you know what, Kathleen? Get it to me as soon as possible. I'm surprised you guys didn't get to me earlier. The Sentinel, you guys know better. Okay. You know, guys. Well, first of all, you know me. I'll go right down there. I'm not afraid to deal with these folks. But no. Get me everything, Kathleen. If there's, listen, I promise you, this will put a stop to this in a heartbeat. This will not, trust me, will not go untested. That we will definitely.
Okay, with you and me on it, let's make a thing.
Oh,
Tuesday, let's aim for 1,000. Let's get 1,000.
That's exactly right. So listen, all you have to do, in fact, let me get all the information. I will put it on my Facebook page for all of you who are listening to the program. Go to my Facebook page. In order to get to that, just go to reseontheradio.com, click on Facebook, and you will see it there. So you can sign the petition. Let's get this information. This is bigotry. This is racism. Forget about all the rest of the nonsense. This cannot stand, especially when you are actually affecting the people in the community who are hardworking folks and private business owners for their political beliefs. This cannot stand in 2025. This is
no, it cannot.
It's absolutely, and the fact that no one is covering this. This is political attacks in the worst
really
kind of
is.
way. It's far
should be
worse
all
than
over the news.
censorship.
This is a bad one.
Oh yeah, this
Now,
is.
I sent you the petition. I sent you Connecticut Sentinel's article, and I also sent you the information for Ann Uberti. That's the head of the Board of Ed. I sent you her email. If people have time, it won't hurt. Send her an email.
Yeah, trust me. We're
dragging her feet here. We need a word from her.
absolutely. That's exactly how I feel. This is far more than just dealing with her. We actually have to hear from her, and she's got to answer for this. As does the group that's targeting people for their political views. That cannot stand at all. Not in this day and age.
Exactly.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Kathleen.
I thank you for your help. I feel much more better about it now. We have a goal here. Friday, let's get 1,000 signatures.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, Kathleen. I appreciate your time and feel better, okay?
Oh, thank you so much. Have a good night.
No, you too. All right, folks, I'm going to post it. It'll be there immediately after the show. I'll put the post there. Go to reseontheradio.com. Go to Facebook. You'll find it there. I'll also link it on my X page as well, so you can find it there and make this happen. Look at where we are, and I'm going to say this. Folks, where we are and where we've been in the last soon-to-be 2 weeks since the murder of Charlie Kirk, with everyone screaming and talking about political activism being either shut down, people being censored, people being treated poorly for not believing what they're supposed to believe, you can't let this one stand. And a group, because of their race and this so-called protected class nonsense, thinks that they can do the things that they would never allow anyone else to do because this particular group is, I don't know, oppressed, cannot stand. It can't be allowed to, and I don't care who it is. And Donald just sent me a message. Let me explain this to you. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Black people must learn from white people, Donald writes. They have a code whereby they express their disdain for black people among like-minded white people. Reese, you're the black man fighting for white people. Donald, I'm Reese on the radio fighting for people. And with that, do what you must. I hope you go around telling everybody that I'm a traitor to my race. Tell them. Run. Tell them that I refuse to let any group silence any other group. But you can frame it any way you want to. Run. Tell them. Tell them I'm coming. Tell them I'm bringing hell with me. I want them scared to death. And in my view, I want them ready to fight me on it. You're never going to bully me. You're never going to shame me. And if you haven't figured it out yet, you're the dummy. I don't have to keep warning you. I'm just going to do. You'll just run your jibs and complain. I tried to explain this, folks, to you folks for the longest. While you sit around complaining about what I say, you do nothing about the evil that men do. You don't speak up when they kill your kids, when they fill them with poison, or they recruit them to feed their communities more and more poison. As they shoot each other and kill the babies in the street, you turn a blind eye because you're a coward. You can't say anything to them because they'll murder you. But you'll say something to me because I'll just talk to you. Please don't come at me like you're some sort of tough guy. Real tough guys would be going after the murderers in the streets. How could I possibly be afraid of you? You won't even challenge the people who would take your life. But I've been sitting here on this platform calling them out every day. So please, spare me. We will see you guys tomorrow. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC and Charlie in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow, and we'll see you back here next time where the fight continues. Let's get to traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, sir.
Good night, Reese. Southbound 91 coming into Hartford, delays approaching 33 down to 32. Again, some slow traffic, 20.
All right.
25
All right,
man.
man.
In West.
All right, enjoy your evening.
I am going to do my best because there is nobody here, and all I have to do is chores.
24.
Chores should be done already.
No, the hell no. You kidding me? I got to pack stuff, and I'm taking my time. I pack one box a week.
That's terrible.
291, 384 moving well east
No,
of
I'm
the river.
doing more than that.
Heading toward Middletown.
All right, I'll see you mañana.
See you tomorrow. Hump day.
Hump day.
Slowing from 35 to 33 on the westbound side of 84. 84 westbound.
I love the fact that these bozos are talking a lot of mess. Please, Donald, with all due respect, please let them know. Please run and tell them. Find every one of those people and let them know. Let them know. There is a reckoning. The NAACP is already running for me. I called that Corey Meeks guy. He won't even answer my phone calls, even though I stood there and I shook his hand. And I said, when you coming on the show? Scared to death of me. They're all scared, and they should be. They should be scared. Just like Tim said, I am a bully. But these folks have been bullying everybody for a long time. It's time they see what a real bully looks like. Okay? And I'm going to do it with a smile. I'm just trying to free everybody. Trying to have everybody live in harmony. Just trying to make sure that they don't live in tyranny. In one-party rule. Where everybody has to be afraid of one another. I don't want any of that. I don't want people using their race as a weapon. Ever. You know, with all due respect, all you quote-unquote black nationalists, coming for you too. Because if you don't want to live in harmony, you want war. You understand how that works? If you don't want to live in peace, you want war. Well, that's what I'm coming for. You're either going to go along and get along and live in harmony, or you're going to put your sword down. I'm expecting you to do the former. Expecting. But I know you won't. So tell them. Run, go tell them. You guys be good to each other.